The defending national champions are at home to begin 2024 with a new quarterback, a new coach, and much of a new team after 13 NFL draft selections. We got Steve Merrill on the line from wagertalk.com, of course, and we enjoy Steve's selections here on a regular basis at the Voice of College Football. His Under the Radar selection, it is exclusive for those Patreon and YouTube members here at the Voice of College Football. Get Steve's daily work at wagertalk.com. Michigan, a 3-touchdown favorite at home, Steve, against the Fresno State team that had a really respected head coach in Jeff Tedford stepped down just a couple months ago.
Yeah, you could say, well, that's a rallying call for him, but I think it's going to be more of a distraction than anything. And looking for reasons to play against Michigan. In fact, a lot of the sharp money has played their season win total under 9. I mean, the sharps are saying they're going to get 3 or 4 losses this season after going 28-1 the last 2 years combined. In fact, they've lost 3 total games the last 3 years combined while winning 40. They're 40-3 straight up, and the season win projection is 8.5 to 9 wins, which would be more losses this season. So this is another example, though, Mark, like we talked about this in some other games here on the channel, where public perception is maybe affecting the point spread. And you wouldn't think the point spread would be skewed against Michigan being the national champs and undefeated. But my database simulation and power ratings show that. In fact, my 10,000 game simulation has Michigan winning by 28 points on average. That's a full touchdown of line value as long as this remains minus 21 or less, which is the current line at the Wager Talk live odds screen as we record this. So I do think the values with Michigan, they very well could be a play against team at some point this season, but I just don't think this is the spot. Fresno is a very one-dimensional offense. They're going to have an extremely difficult time running the ball in this game. Now, Michigan might be down a notch defensively this year, but down a notch from a team that allowed just 10 points a game last year and only 91 rushing yards is still a pretty good defense. Fresno is going to have to throw the ball. Maybe that gives them some backdoor cover, but the fact that this line is about 7 points too low is, I think that's already factored in. Michigan, if you're going to play it, is the way to lay it. And I do think the Wolverines are not a national title contender this year. But that's another motivating factor. You know, you talk about Tedford being out. Maybe that motivates Fresno. What about a first-year coach? Everyone telling them they can't do it again after being the national champs. I think there's a chip on the shoulder for Michigan. And I think Moore in his first game at home has plenty of incentive to win by margin. And we're getting some value on top of that. So I like Michigan minus 21.
Folks, keep in mind that while Steve and I get together and deliver the Michigan information and the angle on the Michigan game here on the Wolverines channel each and every week, go to the various team channels where Steve and I get together to review and preview all the big games in college football across the board. And of course, Steve's exclusive Under the Radar selection is yours as a YouTube member or on Patreon. Thanks for being here, Steve.
Thanks, Mark.
Steve Merrill stopping by to break down the lines in college football for us every week here at the Voice of College Football. And Steve and I always enjoyed this one. It's the daily saga involving the Iowa offense. Of course, one of the worst in college football for going on 3 or 4 years. Here we are. It's game number 1. The Hawkeyes taking on Illinois State as a 22.5-point favorite. Join Steve for wagertalk.com is where you can find his NFL and college football selections on a daily basis. Steve, here we are with the Hawkeyes. A new offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, coming in to fix the Iowa woes on that side of the football.
Yeah, but French's 26th year at the helm, though. So the head guy's still there, but his son is no longer the OC. And I got suckered into the spot last year in week 1 against Utah State. I thought it was going to be a better offense. Everything I'd read had said it was going to be a better offense. And laid the 23.5, and they only scored 24 in the entire game, a 24-14 non-covering win. If I recall, I think I went 3-1 that Saturday for my clients at wagertalk.com, and that was the only miss. So I'm always very cautious with Iowa. I need to trust but verify. We need to see it to believe it if there's really going to be an offensive improvement. Now, saying an offensive improvement is not a big task to have because this team averaged only 15 points a game last year. So we're asking them to win by a touchdown more than what they averaged last year. And they were in a very similar spot, once again, as I pointed out last season, as a 23.5-point favorite, and they only scored 24 points in a 10-point win. So Illinois State's not a team I handicap on a weekly basis or an FCS program. They're usually a playoff caliber FCS program. So I'd be very cautious with Iowa, and it's asking a lot for them to win by 3.5 touchdowns when the total on this game is only 41. So we'll keep an eye on Iowa going forward. We'll see what to make of this team. But, yeah, I need to see it to believe it, Mark, before we know there's some offense there. Keep in mind, The 15 points last year was bad. The year before that, they averaged only 18 points a game, but they've allowed just 15 and 13 points the last 2 seasons. So the defense really has been lights out, and the under has been pure money makers. This is a tricky game with the big point spread. We'll wait and pick our spots maybe with the Iowa State game next week.
And to compound that figure of 15 and 18 points scored per game, their defense was contributing more of that than any other team in the country to those scoring totals.
Yeah, they really could have had maybe the best defense in college football the last 2 years combined, when you consider how bad of a situation their offense puts them in on a weekly basis.
Absolutely. Catch Steve's work on a daily basis at wagertalk.com. Of course, the NFL is coming soon, Major League Baseball playoffs, as well as college football. The under-the-radar selection, Steve's masterpiece here for us at the Voice of College Football, 21-5 the last 2 years. You can catch that as a YouTube member or as a channel member on YouTube and or Patreon right here at the Voice of College Football. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Mark.
Nebraska football trotting out a 5-star freshman to try to right some wrongs. They've got the longest bowlless drought in college football, inexplicably. Matt Rule in his second season, and of course, Nebraska coming off 5-7. They host UTEP to get 2024 started. We got Steve Merrill on the line from wagertalk.com to break it down. Steve, this is crazy that Nebraska's at the longest bowlless streak in college football. They're coming off 5-7. They are a 27.5 point favorite to get things going on the right note against UTEP.
Yeah, I found that hard to believe and had to look it up. They haven't been in a bowl since the 2016 season under Mike Riley. Really is insane. Now they're a third coach since then, or second different coach, third coach overall since a bowl appearance. So I do think there's motivation here for Nebraska, and I want to point that out because whenever you're looking at a big number like this, it's not a question who's going to win the game. Nebraska is going to win this game straight up as a 27.5 point favorite. It's like, is there motivation to win by margin? And when you've been a struggling program that was a high-profile program for decades, I think there is. And then on top of that, my database simulation shows a bigger win. It doesn't really take into account motivation. It's just looking at the X's and O's and historical simulations. Has Nebraska winning this game on average by 33.5 points. So we get some line value, almost a touchdown of line value. And then I think on the surface, there's plenty of reason why Nebraska would want to extend it on at home after some below average seasons. So Nebraska is the way to play this. This is often the case with a lot of these big favorites in week one. You want to look for a reason to lay the wood. And I think Nebraska gives us some of those reasons here.
Steve's selections for not just college football, but the NFL can be found on a daily basis at wagertalk.com. Steve's under the radar selection is exclusive to us here at the Voice of College Football. 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I said 21-5 against the spread. And you can catch that selection at patreon.com/Mark Rogers TV, and also as a YouTube channel member, and you will get the details forthcoming. Steve, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Mark.
Ohio State is expecting to be in play for a national championship this season, but they can't do anything about that except just paste Akron. Poor Akron that's getting a $1.9 million paycheck on Saturday when they come to Columbus. Got Steve Merrill on the line from wagertalk.com. You can catch his NFL selections as well as college football there at wagertalk.com. Steve, this is a classic blowout situation with Ohio State almost a 50-point favorite at home.
Damn it. I would take half of that. I'd take like 900,000 to come play Ohio State. I'll take them all myself. That's insane that they're getting that kind of a paycheck. And that's exactly why they play these games. And it kind of puts in perspective, why these teams do so poorly. In fact, if you look at non-conference game one records the last 5 or 6 years, the SEC has been over a 60% play, almost 65% against the spread. The MAC has been the worst of all the big conferences. They've been about 40% against the number. And it makes so much sense because if you look at Akron's schedule here, start off with Ohio State and Rutgers on the road, South Carolina in week 4, and then they finally have a conference game in week 5. The conference game is all that matters to them. They don't need to win these games. They're not going to win these games. They're just trying to get out of there healthy and hopes that $1.9 million cash check cashes when they take it to the bank, because this isn't a game they're trying to win. So we always looked for reasons to play the big favorites. When it gets this pricey, it does get a little tricky because Ohio State can do all they want and still win by maybe 6.5 touchdowns instead of 7 and not cover. But My database simulation takes into the X's and O's and just the matchup and doesn't really take the motivation factor in. And on average, 10,000 simulations, Ohio State wins this game by 58 points. So the line is still almost 10 points too low. If you're going to play it, the only way is to lay it. You don't want to ask bad teams to do something good for you. You don't want to take the buy and hope approach with Akron squad that has gone 6-30 the last 3 years. They're consistent, 2-10, 2-10, 2-10, consistently bad, and they've gone 1-7 in the conference each of the last 3 years. They have no chance of competing here. They have no backdoor cover potential. And the other thing to keep in mind is that Ohio State can try to take their foot off the gas, but when they have the second team in there, there's no drop-off. And I would probably venture to say the third team is still better than the Akron starters. So they're not going to be able to help but name their score in this one. Last year, they played Western Kentucky in their second home game, third game overall, as a 28-point favorite. They won by 53. And they have a history of winning these games big, and that's the only way to play it, in my opinion.
You get Steve's selections for not just college football, but the NFL at wagertalk.com. And as you will find out the details here in a second, Steve's under the radar selection, one pick a week. It's exclusive here at the Voice of College Football. As a Patreon or a YouTube channel member, get the details right now. Thanks for stopping by, Steve.
Thanks, Mark.
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly Under the Radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.